Whatever Happened to the Ninth Legion? This book attempts, eventually, to discuss various theories about what happened to it. Unfortunately, there really isn't enough here for an entire book. Now, for the disclaimer. In my day job, yes, I run a publishing company. Yes, we do publish military history. No, I haven't published anything on ancient Rome. Now, to highlight just what evidence we have for theories about the Ninth Legion. The last reference is in Tacitus, discussing an attack on a Roman camp that the Ninth was almost failing to hold, another legion having to come to its rescue. There is some archaeological evidence after this, an inscription later on, also in the British Isles, as well as some roof shingles which have the legion's mark on them, since the legions were often used for building projects. Besides that, there's really nothing else. Now, how exactly to construct a book-length narrative discussing this? There are a couple of possibilities. For example, you could look at the various theories that other authors have come up with, what that says about them, the history they were living in, their preconceptions, and any accuracies or inaccuracies with the actual historical record, which would basically turn the book into an exercise in historiography, which is fine and perfectly acceptable. We didn't do this, however, mostly because when it comes down to it, there haven't been many people that have written on the topic, or at least come up with different theories. So, instead, what we get is a lot of background, and I mean a lot of background. We get explanations of the Principate and the various emperors and dynasties that controlled the West. We end up with a history of the legions throughout Roman history. We also receive plenty of information on the British tribes that confronted the Romans when they invaded, the battles that took place to conquer England and part of Scotland for the Romans, the Germanic tribes, their structure, and, yes, how they fought the Romans, Roman administration over their provinces, Londinium, the modern London, and how it was built. And yes, back to those shingles, plenty of material on them as well. I actually found that to be rather interesting. Once we move east, we get a history of Judea, how it was ruled by the Romans, and the various Jewish revolts. Even though, as the author admits, yes, there has been a theory put forward that this is where the Ninth was destroyed or otherwise found to have behaved so inappropriately that its name was stricken from the historical record, but there really isn't much evidence for it. Then we get our conclusions, which takes us back, spoiler alert, to the idea that, if anything, it is most likely that they were destroyed in modern-day Scotland, and this would be one of the reasons for the building of Hadrian's Wall. This book could be a lot shorter. In fact, something that I've thought about when reading other works is the rule of thumb that if the argument could be easily boiled down to a newspaper article or even a magazine piece, and if to get to book length you have to add padding to it, then you don't really have a book. You have a magazine piece or a newspaper article. Unfortunately, this book fails at that. The padding is very well done, and I do give the author credit for including some interesting material, things that even I, someone who has been reading ancient history for at least 25 years at this point, have never come across. For instance, that Jerusalem wasn't the Roman capital of the province of Judea that it was part of. I didn't know that. Also, yes, the stuff about the roof tiles was interesting. It didn't get us any closer to determining what happened to this legion, however. If this book had been sold as the life and times of a Roman legion, I probably still would have been annoyed by it, since there's a lot of general material here, not specific to the 9th Legion. However, I'd be feeling a little more charitable towards it, and yes, I know, publishers, myself included at times, will, shall we say, sell the sizzle instead of the steak. And I'm sure someone is jumping into the comments to tell me that I shouldn't be judging this by its title or its flat copy, and I hear you, but for me, there's just not enough here. This is the first book that's going to hit my books I didn't like list, which is slightly unfair. The padding does hold some interest for me, and I probably will revisit this again, but it's knowing that the mystery of what happened to the 9th Legion isn't going to be solved in this book. As always, if you've enjoyed this review, please like, comment, and subscribe. I'll have another book for you in the next couple of days.